I just walked out of a client meeting and I saw a $100,000 mistake. Without a doubt, this was really egregious. This was beyond taking control and advantage of a situation where the client just did not know what was going on. And so, story goes, and this just happened. I was just in there. The customer and there's a nice office, pretty much penthouse floor over in the garment district. And so what they do is they assess properties. They put values on properties. And this could be for the reason of if you're in court, if you want to see how much a property is, if you're in a trust and estate and you're passing down property to heirs in New York or the city or the country or the feds. They want to know how to tax it and assess it. So that's one way. Or just in general, if you want to evaluate your property, if you want to sell it, you want to know how much it goes for. So this was the company. They have about 20 people and they've been around for about 40 years. And so they brought me in because they were not happy with the IT from before, which is typical. I get this a lot. I go in, I meet with them. Usually the meetings are about like 15, 20 minutes. We get right to the root of it, see what's going on. For this one in particular, it was long. It was like about an hour. And I realized it was this quasi-psychology. This was checking out the situation, giving them tech analysis. And I'm all for just being open and letting customer know, client know exactly what needs to happen. They want to hire us, great. If not, they're better for the info, hopefully. And honestly, I feel better about myself if I'm able to put them in the right decision and future position. So specifically, this customer wanted to take their database, which essentially is a program called Total. It's a database software. And this Total software has all of their property assessments in there. Their software essentially allows them to take any comps, specs in the area, anything that will allow them to have variables to make up a quote or value of property. And specifically, they will look at high-end apartments in New York City and take care of that. So the challenge for them was taking their database, their software that they've used for, I don't know, about 40 plus years, and be able to make sure that it's essentially in the cloud or mobile, or allowing their remote force techs and engineers and everybody in the company be able to access it. So to take a step back, right now they have an office of about 20 people and they're going to be moving. And when they move, they don't want to be stuck in the office connecting into this database. And so they want to have some type of online setup. So the next question I had for them was, okay, let me see your setup. So we spoke about this database and the needs to go remote. And I wanted to know why. Why do you want to go remote? So we went into the server room, brand new floors. Everything was like top to bottom. They left no expense at all. Everything looked gorgeous. Obviously, they're in the assessment and the property business. They want to make sure everything looks good. So I was wondering what the tech would look like. So we went into the server room. With the room, it was more of like in between a closet and a room. And what I saw was, I couldn't believe it. I was expecting maybe one server, maybe a network attached storage device, which is essentially like an external hard drive that's connected to the network that everybody can access for files. I saw 4 looked like brand new servers, Dell PowerEdge servers. And I was in shock because 4 servers, all they needed to run for this company was this Total software, which was essentially their bread and butter, their database, everything that they save and they go through. And pretty much all their files are shared there, like about maybe 60, 70% of them. And then the rest of them, they just share on a shared drive that they were using. And then the emails were just going through Office 365, Microsoft, pretty basic. So to have 4 servers, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So one server, of course, was Active Directory. This is like the old school way to set it up in, I don't know, 2005, 2010. So they had Active Directory set up, which means that every computer connects to a domain name or essentially the server. And that's what allows it to run and everybody's on the same network. Fine. And then, of course, I got a feeling what the next server was. The next server, the second server, was a print server, a full-blown server, probably close to $10,000 with licensing and the equipment. $10,000 server for maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 printers. So that was insane. And that was such a waste. At least 10,000. I might be modest on that. And then the third server that was like somewhat normal, fine, was for the file server. Fine. That stores all the files. Everybody connects to it. They have their drives. Everything looks good. But you have 4 servers. And with everything going on, it was just out of control. And I was just trying to hide or hold back my emotion with how pissed off I was for this IT person. You're looking at $100,000 right there with equipment, with licensing, with software, and let alone their support that they're providing for them. You have all this stuff going on, and it's just insane. So I wasn't just thinking about the equipment cost, but I was also thinking about you have this IT support company that most likely is charging for maintenance to take care of this. So it's not only bad enough that you have the equipment charge, but you have the IT that is also charging because they have to maintain it. It's one leads to another. Insane. So this person who I'm speaking with, the contact, thank goodness he's new to the company and he's or newer to the company. And he was looking to not just cut costs, but just to make it more sensible for what they need. Now, before the meeting, I called up the database company and luckily they picked up right away because I was expecting a company that doesn't pick up or doesn't have support. I found out that the database company picked up right away and they said, hey, we have an online version. I knew when I was going into the meeting that they were looking for something online, so I wanted to be prepared. So I walked in and I said, you have an online version already? I don't know if you're aware of this. They are. And I don't know if you're familiar with QuickBooks, but QuickBooks for the last 10 years, they've set up, or plus, they've had their own QuickBooks online version, which is great, but it's not fully functional. You might not have the same reports or invoices customized how you're used to. And the same is to be said for this database. You can go online, but it's scaled down. My contact and the company were not fans of that. The next step here, which I'll get into the next video, is going to be about how can you take software or a database that, although there's an online version of it, you still want to keep it. You still want to have it. You want to preserve it. You want to have it online. So I'll talk about that in another video. But for the purpose of this company, I immediately told them we could definitely do online. And in terms of the functions that they're using right now, very simple. They don't need a full-fledged domain server. When you take away a domain server, it's already cached, meaning you don't need that server to go through it and just for the sake of it. Like it makes no sense. Back in the day, you used to do that if you wanted to have read-write permissions, different access to certain folders, but you could do that at a minimum on the file server that this company has, or really you just do this online on the OneDrive or a Dropbox or whatever it might be. We could totally get rid of that. The Active Directory server. In terms of the file server, like I just mentioned, we'll swap that for actually OneDrive because they're already working with Microsoft 365. So they can use that, and we will be using that. And then in terms of the database, we're going to be basically virtualizing this online and then essentially just using another computer, another database, and we're going to just upload it to maybe like an AWS for Amazon or another type of vendor. Just to recap here, there's no need to have $100,000 plus environment of servers and equipment. This day and age, 2026 on, that's very 15, 20 years ago. If you are a company or an office that you want to have files, you want to have it there, it's no problem. You could have a hybrid environment where you have a network attached storage, also known as a NAS, set up, and you could have files being saved to it. And I recommend to sync that online to a Dropbox or a OneDrive or a Google Drive to have that for redundancy. Or you could just go straight cloud. You can just go straight to OneDrive, have all your files, and go from there. But The whole server environment is absolutely dead. There's no need to do that at all anymore. And the maintenance costs and the overall equipment cost is just obscene. You don't need to do that. So just wanted to mention that if you are still working with servers or older equipment and you feel like it's just at this point getting very expensive or expensive IT cost wise, just because you have to keep on maintaining it, get a second opinion. Check it out. See what you can do online. Get yourself modernized. You don't have to stick with what you have. You should definitely upgrade or tweak it a little bit. So I just wanted to bring that up to your attention. You don't have to be stagnant, especially with your equipment. If you like what you saw, feel free to follow, and I will see you next time. Take care.